What is going on YouTube? Welcome back to A Therapeutic Edge. Today on the table in front of us, we've got the Bestech Bowie Tie, and I'm not going to lie, I have been dying to get my hands on one of these for quite some time. I love the shape of this thing. I held one at Blade Show West and just didn't pull the trigger, and I wish I had. Now, this one is not mine. It came to me by way of the Apex Pass-Around group, something I am very, very grateful for. This is a great pocket knife. I really enjoy it. I've got some friends that have one of these. I'm looking at you, Chad. And in pictures, it just never, like I said, I held one and I kind of passed on it. And in the pictures, I'm always like, eh. But having had one for a week to carry and use, this is a great pocket knife. I mean, just very, very good. And it's fun, and it's well made, and it's beautiful. This is Bestech doing what they do best. I love this thing. I mean, look at that blade shape. I mean, really. Right? That kind of Bowie knife clip point, which Bowie tie, right? Makes perfect sense. There were some, I guess, that had some issues with the carbon fiber. This one has no voids and no issues. This one is very, very well done. The action on this knife, well, you know, is very good. It is M390. It is running on bearings. It is a liner lock. Well, it's kind of a bolster lock, really. The lock bar has beautiful jimping right here, so you grab it every time without fail. With a little wiggle, it drops right shut. The flipper is not too obtrusive, and it's got just enough jimping on it that it works really, really well when you don't screw it up when you're on camera. Let's take a look at some dimensions just for fun. This knife is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.5 inches long. You get 1, 2, 3, and 1/4 inches of cutting on a little over 3.5 inches of M390. It is reasonably thin blade stock, so it's reasonably thin behind the edge. That was one thing that surprised me a little bit. With all of this blade and all this down here to this belly, it's still got a relatively fat bevel, which is interesting to me, but it cuts like crazy, and it cuts very comfortably. It's got a great choil right here, so you can choke up, and of course a perfectly natural thumb resting spot. Because of the clip point, if you're doing like up close work and draw cuts, there's a really natural place to hold this knife. You can even sort of tuck your finger. I mean, if you're going to cut, you can even cut in that way. It's a very versatile and useful knife. The pocket clip on this thing is excellent, and it is very close to deep carry-ish, as you can see. There's just a little bit of knife sticking out the top. The pocket knife is elegantly done. The pocket clip is elegantly done, and when it's open, it presents 0 hot spots. The rolled overall shape of this handle, I was a little concerned when I was going to carry it for a week. My initial feeling was that it kind of pushed my hand into some strange positions. But after carrying it and using it for a week, it's a very natural grip position. 3 fingers lock into the cutouts here with my pinky resting on this flat back here very, very comfortably. It is very nice. Let's do a couple of size comparisons just for grins. Here it is against our old friend, the Rat Model 1. And as you can see, the Rat 1 is a little longer in the handle, but blade to blade, these are very, very similar. And I like that. Of course, this being M390, it is a considerably better steel than you're getting on the Rat Model 1 here. Do I have the Rat 2? Oh, I do. Here it is, it's the Rat 2 for size. Right, much, much bigger than the Rat 2. The Rat 2 is a tiny, tiny knife. That's interesting. I don't seem to have any other sort of... Wow, my table's oddly bare today. So let's stick with what we got. In the time that I've carried this, I have fallen in love with it, and I have to tell you that I will be getting one for the collection and for the channel as quickly as I can. Not just because of this interesting and beautiful blade shape. I love the fact that it's satin up here and stonewashed on the actual blade itself, which means that it's not going to show a ton of wear. There's jimping up here, which really does a surprisingly good job if you're going to hold it back like this. But if you come forward, of course, your thumb goes over it. And if you're on the choil, you're well past it. But for push like this bit of jimping and for draw is really very good. got a titanium backspacer that is relatively simple, and of course it has a lanyard hole for those of you that lanyard hole. I don't, but you might. The pivot is interesting without being too much. It's got a little interesting shape on this side. Of course, on this side it has the Torx location and matching milling on the pivot, which is very, very nice. It does have, well, let's see, there's the pivot, there's the 2 screws that hold in the backspacer, and then there's one, I'm guessing, that holds the carbon fiber down. I would have liked it, of course, if they'd have come up from the other side or done something so that you didn't have an extra screw in the carbon fiber, but that's me. Not a big deal. It's just an aesthetic thing. Where the carbon fiber comes together with the titanium is perfect. You cannot feel a thing. Well, maybe going this way just a little bit, but there's no gapping on either side. It is very, very well done. Along the titanium liners, there is no gapping. This is just a really well-executed pocket knife by Bestech. It's really very, very good and fun to have in the pocket. Big enough to be a big knife, but not so big as to scare, folks every time you take it out of your pocket. The blade shape, because of this long, beautiful belly, is perfect for everyday EDC tasks up to and including food prep, which is really very nice. Because of that belly, you can get that right down on a cutting board with your fingers out of the way and do all the cutting that you need to. It is, again, really well executed. If you haven't had a chance to play with one of these, if you get a chance to do so, if you've been thinking about getting one, go ahead and do it. I don't recommend all my knives. I recommend some. I'm recommending this one as a really good mid-size, mid-weight EDC from Bestech. It is just so well done. I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you so much for watching. This is just kind of a short video. Sorry about that. But what do you have to say? It's a great knife. Really, really, the long and the short of it is this is a great pocket knife. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about this knife or any of my knives, feel free to ask down in the comments below. If you haven't done so, please hit the like button. It does help the channel. And extra, if you haven't done so, please subscribe. I would love to have you here on a regular basis. Again, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.